Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to this week's Who Review Thoughts. I am Davros, and I am a Whovian, and today I'm giving you my Who Review Thoughts on the latest episode, Lux. So, before I go any further, there are going to be spoilers, so warning for that. So, yeah, taking partly off from where the last episode ended, the Doctor wants to get Belinda. Well, Belinda wants to get back home, and the Doctor's trying to do that, but lands her in 1952 Miami, Florida. And about 3 months before they got there, the movie cartoon Mr. Ingading came to life from the moon beaming light into the picture house and reflecting on a spoon and then into a projector. And then, yeah, the Mr. Ringading came to life, only to find out when the Doctor comes to face him, he is a pantheon of the gods, because we hear that classic, well, not that classic, we hear the giggle, that ha 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 ha, and then the words drop Harbinger. And yeah, Mr. Ringading is actually, well, Lux, the god of light. So he's a pantheon of the gods. Again, they mention and reference the toy maker and the maestro and Sutek. So yeah, um, not really surprised that Mr. Ringading, or Lux as he is called, is a god. So yeah, because like I say, this year is all about the pantheon of gods, and Lux, then the only person in the theatre, because 15 people went missing and disappeared, but Lux trapped them into film reels. There's the projectionist, Mr. Pie, and yeah, he's like under the thumb of Mr. Ringading because he can bring his wife back to life from film reels that he's got. And yeah, um, we get again, he traps the Lux traps the Doctor and Belinda in a cartoony world, and they're stuck there. But then they realize the sadder they are, the more they can become real again, and they do. Then they start to tear through reels. They're in one reel where they think they're back, but then you know they then actually end up. Turns out they weren't, and then they then find that the other way to get out, or one way to get out, is to push the screen, and they break the fourth wall. In fact, they go beyond that. They actually end up in our world, where they meet three Who fans that are watching. One wearing a Cyberman shirt with Fez, another one wearing a unit hoodie with a Fourth Doctor scarf, and another one with a Third Doctor sonic screwdriver and a unit shirt. Not a unit shirt, a Meep shirt. And they explain to the Doctor and Belinda that they're all fiction, that they're fictional and everything, and this is our world, etc. But then the Doctor finds that again, this is not reality. So then these fans tell them what they need to do and to stop Lux, and by doing that, they get erased from existence, and the Doctor and Belinda then have to face Lux, and the Doctor finds out that the only way to get rid of Lux is to give him all the light in the universe. Also, Lux wants a proper body, so uses the Doctor's bi-generation energy, so they're gonna still go with that bi-generation and not regeneration. Well, the 15th Doctor is a product of bi-generation. So he ends up, you know, using bi-generation energy to heal his hand at one point because he gets it burnt whilst escaping the film reel. That's what they got to do, let the film reel burn out, and that's how they escape. And then Belinda finds out that she needs to burn all the reels, and Mr. Pie makes the willing sacrifice after his wife from beyond the grave tells him to find her, and he gets the whole room to explode, sacrificing himself. So a character with very little development there. And then Lux gets the sun lights and grows bigger and bigger and bigger after wanting to take the Doctor's light, and then he becomes the light of the universe, and the people that disappeared at the beginning come back, and then the Doctor and Belinda go on their way in an attempt to get back to May the 24th, May 26th. I can't remember the date now, when it is, but that will be the air date of the penultimate episode, where it'll be the first of a two-part finale. We get Mrs. Flood in there among the crowd, and again, she tells one of the guys who's amazed by seeing the TARDIS disappear. She tells him it's a limited show and that. So Mrs. Flood's back, and she makes a brief appearance. So we now know that she's not just in the 21st century. She's obviously going to be following the Doctor and Belinda throughout time. Who is she? There's so many theories and possibilities on who she is. We'll probably find out this series, but for now, yeah, she's just telling us to stay tuned with the fourth wall break stuff. And as the episode ends, the three fans that the Doctor interacted with are back. They're alive and they're still here, and they're giving us their quick thoughts on the episode. And then it ends there. We get a preview of next time, which is episode 3, The Well. So yeah, a lot going on in this episode. Quite a bit. All crammed into 50 minutes. So what did I like about this one? Well, again, just like in last year's episode, Devil's Cord, we see the Doctor and Belinda go through the TARDIS wardrobe, do a quick wardrobe change, and then interact with Lux, the God of Light. So basically, there were a few retreads of last year's second episode. So, just like the Devil's Cord, again, another episode where we feature another god of the Pantheon, and I imagine we're going to be facing another god of the Pantheon in the finale. Maybe they'll end that story arc there with the Pantheon gods, I don't know. But, yeah, a lot of that was familiar. I like that they referenced the giggle when Mr. Ringading kept banging on saying, "Don't make me laugh," and he does that classic, he does that ha 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 ha, the giggle. That I thought, the giggle, then I thought he's a god, and then he explains he's the god of light. Of course, these visual effects of cartoon and live action is nothing new. This effect goes back decades. And of course, Mr. Ringading or Lux was voiced by Alan Cummings, who is no stranger to the show. He appeared back in series 11 as King James in the Witch episode with Jodie Whittaker, and this time he is now he's Mr. Ringading. So he voices him, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, if we didn't know it was him, or there was no mention of him returning to the show and voicing him, I probably wouldn't have known it was him, but yeah, it was him. I thought he did an okay performance, sounded very campy, very wacky, because he was a cartoon after all, and the God of Light took on the appearance of a cartoon from the real Mr. Ringading. So yeah, he had like a pig snout, blue skin. Also, around the beginning, before the Doctor and Belinda go investigating in the theatre or in the showroom or picture house, they're in a diner, and the Doctor mentions to Belinda that there's like a curfew for black people being in there around the night time, but they were like, it's night time, no one's going to care. Again, they get a bit of a historical accuracy in there, because back in those days, black people, people of colour, let's say that, people of colour were not allowed to speak their minds, which kind of brought me back to that, the Rosa Parks episode, because, again, it was a very different time, and, it's just, that's how it was, but at least 2 years from there, things would start to change. They would have the whole movements, and people would start protesting for equal rights. And yeah, yeah. I like that they acknowledge some historical accuracy there. But so yeah, there's that. I thought Ncuti Gatwa was all right playing the Doctor. Didn't break into tears this time. Had to think sad, but he didn't break into tears, which I thought, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, even though last week it was brief, it was over a character we didn't really get to know very well in last week's episode, the premiere. And yeah, we see Mrs. Flood, so Anita Dobson makes a little appearance, and yeah, so what's her case? Like I said, we'll probably find out the long way round. Varada Sethu playing Belinda. I thought she was a bit better this time round in her performance. Not too poor acting and that, but it's early days still. We've only seen her in 2 episodes, so we're still getting to know her. But the fact that she ends up tagging along with the Doctor on this adventure, thinking, does she really want to go home? Does she prefer to take the long way around? Obviously, he's not going to get home just yet because, but what's all that about with Mrs. Flood saying the show ends on May the 24th, 2025? We obviously know something's going to go on because we've seen at the end of the last episode a glimpse of like the destruction and everything, debris floating in space and that. What is going to happen on that date? Like I said, we'll find out. They're going to drag it out to the finale, or at least the penultimate episode, because the penultimate episode that reveals the whole thing that's been building up to, and then we get the finale where it's all out and everything. So yeah, this episode, it was a bit of a cheese fest. There was some campiness. There was some, cheese in there. You can tell Disney had their influence in there, but at least they didn't end on a cheesy musical number. Although that song did grow on me, there's always a twist at the end. But yeah, I thought it was decent. Not too bad. Very camp, but all right. The next episode looks a bit dark and stuff, so we'll see what that's like next week. So yeah, let's get to my ratings. So I think I've gone on now enough about this. The visuals, let's get to them first. I will give them an 8. The performances, an 8. The writing, I'll give that a 7. On my personal, I'll give it a 7 because it were watchable. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, wasn't as dark. But yeah, I like that we get another god in there, another god of the pantheon. Which god will we meet next? Well, we'll obviously find out and come back to that. Obviously, Mrs. Flood is some sort of a god or something. I don't know. Like I say, Mrs. Flood, we'll hopefully find out by the end of this season. But yeah, that's it for this Who Review Thoughts. If you've watched to the end, thanks. That means a lot. So yeah, that has been my Who Review Thoughts on Doctor Who Lux. So, what are your thoughts on it? If obviously you've seen it by now, unless you just want to know the spoilers. So, but yeah, that's it for this one. So be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with your friends. Feel free to subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, I'll probably upload another episode next weekend for Who Review Thoughts. So yeah, until next time, run for your life.